Item number 14. Okay. The Memorandum of Understanding with Dorado County for use of senior center and coordination of senior services. Mr. Stark, you're the guy tonight.
Okay, let's go. John Stark, Director of Parks and Recreation, City Parks and Rec staff, and El Dorado County Health and Human Services staff desire to enter into a Memorandum of Understanding regarding use of the Senior Center and coordination of senior services. The city is the legal entity with the sole authority over the development, operation, and use of the Senior Center property leased from the county. The city and county have mutually agreed that the county will assume responsibility for the scheduling and coordination of senior activities at the Senior Center upon execution of this MOU, and with the hiring of a limited-term program coordinator. The MOU outlines the different areas of responsibility for both the city and the county. Following the execution of the MOU, the county will be responsible for the following: they'll work with the city to ensure that no-cost or low-cost senior activities and senior services are made available to seniors on a regular basis at the Senior Center. The county will recruit and hire a full-time limited-term program coordinator to assist with the operation of the Senior Center. This will include scheduling of meeting rooms for groups and events, the supervision and coordination of the senior nutrition program, and the coordination of activities and events designed to enhance senior participation in the use of the Senior Center. They will schedule and operate recreation and/or senior services in collaboration with the city. The city will be responsible for the following: issue keys or key cards on a temporary basis to part-time personnel who assist with managing the facility. City staff shall ensure uses of on-site Senior Center parking shall be limited by availability for county staff, county vehicles, and senior participants having priority. They will maintain an accurate and current inventory and record of all equipment and furnishings at the Senior Center as either owned by the city or the county. They'll inventory and identify all equipment and furnishings in the Senior Center as either owned by the city or county. They'll provide janitorial maintenance in the event of an urgent situation which presents a hazard to health or safety of staff or program participants. They'll maintain the Senior Center's building and grounds, which shall include daily janitorial services and repairs as needed, provide maintenance for the Senior Center, and ensure that said maintenance is scheduled in a manner that will not unduly interfere with senior activities. They'll pay the cost of all utilities for the Senior Center and provide adequate waste and recycling dumpsters, and provide county staff access to basic cleaning supplies as needed for their use. The term of the MOU is for 3 years after execution. That's the end of my report, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Stark. Mr. Jenkins?
You anticipated.
I saw your hand.
I just want to be sure, because I sat in early January, I believe, in a meeting with Senior Inc. I think the mayor, in a separate meeting, may have attended. We didn't attend. I think there were other members of the council that may have attended a meeting with them. But I just want to be sure on some clarity issues that here, that the Senior Inc., who make up about 16.5% of our population, not over 65, that they do not have to ask permission to use the existing or new facility. That they don't have to pay rent. Is that true?
The Seniors Inc. uses the existing Senior Center.
Yes.
There is no fee charged to Seniors Inc.
Well, that was a good, thank you. And by the way, I heard some very nice comments from one of the board members about your efforts recent, and I appreciate that. So the Senior Inc. is happy with this MOU. They've reviewed the MOU. They're happy with what's in it, and that they are in no way displaced or told they have to use the new facility, because in my own experience, over a few years, where I got all my hair, is that seniors many times just want to have their own facility and access to it, and I would argue that they deserve that right. as we favor many people in the community, I think we should favor those too. So is that what I said, is that consistent with the MOU?
So we're certainly supportive of the seniors, and with the new recreation center, we plan to offer multi-generational programming as well as senior-specific programming.
Okay.
What this MOU spells out is the current use of the senior center
Okay.
and the hiring of a program coordinator and essentially the county taking on the responsibilities of scheduling of rooms and working with Seniors Inc.
Okay.
The city's responsibilities will continue to be maintenance and janitorial, and we'll coordinate with those groups as well.
And is what the county doing here in their services, and I appreciate our supervisor's help, I'm sure she was involved in helping making this so, as all of you are, is what they're doing for us consistent with what they're doing in other parts of El Dorado County? Is it about the same?
I think you'd have to confer with the county.
Okay, because I will say that I hope that's the case, because I think they have an obligation to do that. Whatever they provide in Placerville or elsewhere, El Dorado Hills, that they have to provide here, and I think there's actually, without being a lawyer, that I'm not, that I think there's some law that relates to that. It's called extended services and so on. Okay, well, I appreciate all the work that you've done, and I've heard many nice things about the work that you've done and the people who you've worked with, and I thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Mr. Roberts?
Yeah, I too have heard great things about your cooperation with Seniors Inc., so appreciate that. You know, certainly going to smooth things a lot going forward. My question is, it says this is for 3 years. How does that change at all once Nutrition Center changes over to the new facility, or will the seniors be in the old building for that full 3-year term? Or could you just explain a little bit more of the timing on that?
Yeah, and that's not a part of this MOU. So what will become of the existing senior center, I would say, is still to be determined. What we do know is that the plans are for the county to move their senior nutrition program to the new recreation center.
Correct, I'm aware of that. Will this supervisor, that their limited term program coordinator, will they continue to coordinate at the old building once they move over, or?
That's another question that I don't have an answer to, that we would need to hear from the county.
Okay.
To get clarity on that, because they hired a limited term position. Obviously, the county has the authority to employ that staff member how they see fit. We will be advocating that they keep that person there as long as they can for the limited term period. If they don't, then we will have a discussion in this chamber about what do we do with the existing senior center. But right now, we're not at that moment.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted a little more clarification.
Thank
Appreciate
you, Mr. Irvin. Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Mr. Jenkins?
I had understood from previous conversations with staff in our Monday meetings that this MOU would define the relationship, and it would define who could use what when and what that future would be. That was my understanding. May have misunderstood, but that was my understanding. So you're saying that there's, even with this MOU, that there are still unresolved issues that are important to our seniors and Senior Inc. That need resolution. And when would we think that there will be a resolution to this in the future, with another resolution sometime, or when will there be answers to these questions?
If I may, John, Councilmember Jenkins, I really see two scenarios that, the county plays out this limited term for 3 years, and then they choose not to hire a new limited term position. And then we have a discussion. Does the city look at our staffing and make a decision to offer senior service employees, an employee that's employed by the city to manage that facility? That's something the council could give us direction to. I think it's different than what the vision was when the multi-generational facility was being proposed and built. That's one option. The other option is to go out for an RFP and see if a group like Senior Inc. or somebody else was interested in operating and managing that facility. But in no way is a staff member here, myself or Mr. Stark, proposing that seniors be kicked out of that building immediately or at all. You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Thank you, both of you.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Mr. Robbins, do you have a
Yeah,
question?
I've been to the senior center a handful of times, mostly for community events and presentations and the like, but is it anyone allowed to use the senior center, right? Any senior, I should say, is allowed to use the facilities at the senior center, whether they live in the city or in the county.
Yes.
I mean, this goes to a point that I think we've heard many, many times about are the regional governments doing their fair share, or is it the city's responsibility to pay for the needs of seniors outside of the city and in Nevada and in Myers and, elsewhere that's not in the city? And I think that's an important point because this strikes me as a county function, much like the public library, for example, is a county function. So I'm not stoked on the idea of, continuing to fund a separate senior center when we have spent an unholy amount of money on a brand new multi-generational recreation center that has the word multi-generational in it, specifically because it is intended to support the functions of the senior center, the existing senior center, in a brand new facility.
It was designed by people who are not seniors in this community, and that's in part why, because if you
It was designed relentlessly with
if
the
you've
input of
had
the seniors.
experience managing senior facilities, seniors, not because they're selfish, but of course, I'm not talking about myself, they don't necessarily, it all doesn't blend well with every other group. And it's not because they're exclusive or they think they're better. It just be for age and other reasons. So I would just hope that we all think about that. And I just want to be sure that in the end that we're not treating our seniors in this community less. And by the way, on external charges, in the city that I worked with, one city I worked with, we had a golf course. And we had a fee for local residents. People who were outside the city limits paid a different fee because they were not part of what the taxpayer base that was paying for the thing. So I'm not suggesting, I'm just
Is
saying
that the case here? Do seniors that are outside of the city pay different rates than
As long as
seniors
the
inside
county
of the city?
We're getting so far outside of the thing.
Yeah,
One
I
thing I want
agree.
to say just real quickly on it,
No,
it's
no,
the
no,
county.
This is an MOU with the
Well,
county.
but
This
it
is the
has
issue.
nothing to do with our new services or what's going to be provided in the new center. And the fact is this is a much more complicated thing. The county is who's tasked for senior services. Whether or not a future agreement comes down the road that they want to give us that responsibility and pay us for it, that's so far outside of this item here. So I think we should go to public comment if you don't mind, Mayor, so that we can.
I think,
it's 10
Mr. Roberts,
Oh,
did
excuse
you
me.
still
I
have
didn't see
one
his
thing?
name up.
Look to the
Any
future.
questions?
That's what you said earlier. Look to the future. Anticipate.
No, not a question.
Okay.
I'll reserve it.
I agree, Mr. Bass. Thank you. Mr. Loberg, we're in public comment.
Thank you. Not being a senior, I am appalled, however, in the MOU stating little to no cost. Is that what the seniors are worth? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Loberg. Mr. Messina. Your microphone.
It's a long day for everybody. Okay, I am told by the Commission on Aging that these negotiations have been going on for over 10 years, and the seniors still don't know what is going to happen to them. As far back as I can remember, Senior Inc. provided all the activities and events at the senior center. And they had good boards and bad boards. Unfortunately, COVID pretty much destroyed the center after it was forced to close down for years. The big problem is the new recreation center has stirred things up. I don't know why the Senior Inc. isn't part of these discussions, considering that the ones that have actually been running the center for 20 or 30 years. The city has been very cooperative, so I don't want to, it's the county that seems to be the problem. They stated they are moving not only the nutrition program, but their program coordinator and all of their health and human services to the new rec center. So, you know, I don't know what they think they're going to be doing in this MOU after they've moved to the new rec center. The county has already stated at their last meeting that they don't think they can fund 2 facilities up here, which means they're trying to bow out on us. But the only thing they really have been providing to the seniors is the building. The city has been providing all the support and maintenance, and they've been working with Seniors Inc. The county has not been so much doing that. And by the way, I gotta say, this is my own opinion, not any groups. The city's been, the city really needs to make a commitment to keep the senior center open. In 2020, the city council voted for a master plan that said specifically the senior center will remain open and be upgraded after the creation of the new rec center. That same year, the 56-acre plan said that the city shall allocate 9,000 square feet of dedicated space for the seniors in the new rec center, which never materialized. I can't read my notes. I would suggest that, like in San Jose.
Sorry, Mr. Messina.
Just one more sentence. San Jose leases its facilities to groups like the Seniors Inc. for a 9-year lease for $1. And that's where I think this should be going.
Thank you, Mr. Messina.
Okay, thank you.
We've got you. Anybody else in the room that would like to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to Zoom.
Yeah, we'll open up our Zoom platform for public comment. No additional hands, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Blankenship. I'm going to go really quickly. Just so you are all aware, in the APC portion of this, I will be asking for support to do almost exactly what Mr. Messina just suggested. However, I will say, the new facility, I was part of the design. There is dedicated space for the seniors. Senior nutrition, as part of the agreement previously, senior nutrition is moving to the rec center because, here's why. $1 million of general fund money was spent on that kitchen because we had the support of the El Dorado Commission on Aging at the time. And we moved forward because the kitchen, because it was for senior nutrition, couldn't be covered under the Measure P funds. So the county owns the building, the city controls it, so we can put something forward. I will say that we will still have exercise classes and a lot of services at the multi-generational facility. If the seniors want to move over there, we've been very clear that we will provide office space for you guys, and they're not competing. The seniors use the facility in the daytime, during the day when the kids are not there and the adults are working, or our age are working. And then in the evenings, there will be dedicated space for seniors, a dance class, a dance room, a craft room, all the stuff. So
I can learn to dance.
well, that's up to you.
Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. I cannot learn how to dance though. So I will just a foreshadowing, I'll be asking for support on that because I think we need
not a
to
dance
give.
partner, right?
I will not be asking for a dance partner. I'm married to one. But I think it's important that we have that, because I agree with Mr. Messina and other people that have said that there's not been clarity. I think this can provide clarity. It doesn't have to come back right away, but it's something that we should at least talk about what we're going to do with that facility at the end of when the new facility is open. I do believe that the seniors are going to love the new rec center so much that they're going to want to move over there, because the difference in a brand new $70 million building and an old hospital from the 50s is a completely different thing. I don't know if everybody knows that. That building was a hospital in the 50s. The 50s were good, but those
for being
buildings,
a
not for
hospital, it
buildings.
wasn't.
Okay, Mr. Robbins.
I've often, I've often communicated with city staff about writing reports and materials in ways that are a little more clear to the public. But I thought this one was fine. But nonetheless, I guess there's a need to clarify when we talk about that the senior activities are at no cost or low cost. That is at no cost or low cost to the seniors, not low cost or no cost value of activities. I didn't think that was unclear. So John, I don't think this was poorly written. I thought it was written fine. I don't get how that's interpreted wrong, but that's not what that meant. So that's fine. I'm just a little puzzled as to how we got. It's a little unclear to me how we got to here. How did we get to now with the situation where we're at? The city of South Lake Tahoe does not run libraries. The city of South Lake Tahoe does not operate the schools. The city of South Lake Tahoe does not operate search and rescue or highway patrol or any number of things that are the functions of county or higher level governments in our area. But senior facilities are usually a county level operation, yet we are funding them, or we are committing our funding to it as well, and that should be a county operation, specifically because the people who use it are broadly from the region as a whole, not just from the city. It's not a city exclusive operation. There's no cost differential for users that are inside or outside the city. And I think just and significant hay has been made of the fact that we're doing all this for housing for our workforce, and we should do less of it because the regions, or not do so much of it because the regional governments are not doing their fair share. This is something that is supposed to be entirely a county function. And yes, if there was something where they're leasing our building and whatever, but this is about, the MOU has a list 3 bullets long of what the county will be doing, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bullets long about what the city will be doing, including building maintenance, which is a non-trivial thing on a building that dates from the 50s. So I'm not quite clear how this is equitable in terms of the funding breakdown between what is a county responsibility and what is a city responsibility. It's as if we were contributing to fund the health department here. That's not a city function, that's a county function. And yeah, there are a number of cities that are concurrent cities and counties, but we're not one of them. So that's not how that works here.
You have to be a city of 50,000 or more to have your own health department.
Yeah, and in fairness, we're a city of 150,000 on the weekends in the summer, but that's not what counts. So can staff talk to how it is that we
Ms.
got
Stroud
to
has
here?
something, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to answer that question because all of the city responsibilities, pretty much without exception, are already things we're obligated to do under the 56 acres agreement and the ground lease we have with the county. So we are already required to do maintenance and janitorial service on the buildings that we lease from the county under that agreement.
So
this is repeating those and maybe adding a little more detail, but it's not adding any costs over what we're already doing.
So this comes because the building is covered under the 56-acre agreement, and that came for the ride because this is what's used for the senior center. And in another.
No matter what it's used for, we would
correct.
have those obligations.
Correct.
Yes.
And so if this were a county building that was just owned on some other parcel, then we wouldn't be paying anything for it nominally. But this is because this comes out of this weird agreement that we have for this one, 56-acre section of the city where we're
Right.
leasing the buildings on top of the land from the county.
Yes, it was a complicated, I think, 2-year
Very
negotiation
complicated.
process with the county where we, in order to do the land exchange to get the property to build the new multi-generational center, the county wanted some things in exchange, and one of them was that we would continue to maintain and provide repair and maintenance for the buildings that we were leasing from them.
Okay,
Thank you, Ms. Stroud.
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robbins. Mr. Roberts.
First, Mr. Stark, maybe you can answer this, is, I was present in two different meetings where they said, where you said, I believe it was you and others, perhaps it was Timolin as well, said the opposite of what Mayor Wallace just said about them having a specific office and specific place. Both times you said that they were able to compete for the time for those rooms, and that they could reserve it the same as anybody else could. And also, answer that first, and I got some other comments as well.
Well, first, the senior nutrition program, we've identified a space for them that they would have access to, which would be the event dining space. It would be a really nice space.
Understood.
And then we've identified a secondary space if there was something that was booked in there, a conference or a wedding or something like that, that would be within what we're calling our community room, the arts and crafts room. So that would be available to them. You know,
Through the reservation process.
those will be where the senior nutrition program will be located. It'll be in either or. For the reservation process for meeting rooms, I think to the mayor's point, the time of day that seniors would be using it would likely be more available during the day when they would be interested in using it. In terms of their priority for a fee, we're currently looking at a user fee study right now for the city, and within that, we're considering a number of different fee structures, one of which that we're exploring is a low cost or no cost booking for seniors. There's still some more work that needs to be done there, but that's part of our fee study.
Okay, so they don't in fact have dedicated space, but and I do believe, like everybody's saying, that eventually they're going to want to be there. They're going to want to move over there because it's going to be a fabulous facility and a lot of activities over there, and I agree to that fact. But one of the biggest challenges for the senior center right now is low members. And they need the opportunity to put on fundraiser, membership drives, and so on. And those are not going to be taking place during the day because they're going to have a food component. They are going to be in the evening, and they are going to be not during the day when nobody else is there. So I think some of those comments are a little bit inaccurate. I think also what we need to understand and have a little bit of sympathy for the seniors. While I'm a senior, I'm still in denial that I'm a senior, so I don't think like I don't think like that. I don't think, but I think, you know, I would imagine they have a lower comfort zone than the rest of us. So and they're lower comfort with change. So I think it's important that they have this opportunity to stay in that current building as long as possible to make the change to the new environment. And also when you're talking about them going to a much larger building and a big fancy building with all kinds of lights and whistles and things, I think their comfort is not going to be there, and I think that's why they're concerned about having to move and being displaced. So I think we need to keep that in mind, that, these are they need different comforts than most of us need.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. So on this item, is there further discussion or a motion?
Sure, I'll put forward a motion
Thank you.
authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with Dorado County for the use of the senior center and coordination of senior services.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, please vote. Okay.
Was easy.
Yeah.
Motion unanimously carries.
Thank you, Ms. Blankenship. Moving on to